They're still doing adjustments.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order and start with the pledge of allegiance. And put the switch so we're on. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, some stuff here about the meeting. Exits are over here and over there. Most of you have been here before. Please silence all of your electronic devices, your watches, everything, so you don't interrupt the meeting. There's a sign-in sheet. Please sign in so the clerk knows who's here. We'll be following the rules and procedures adopted by this board on February 2nd, 2022. A change in how we do business a little bit. If you want to speak to the board or when I call on, you need to go up to the podium and speak because that's where the microphone is. So make sure it gets recorded and the people online can hear. With that, I think that's all of the preliminary stuff I have. Next item on the agenda is the meeting minutes. From, I can't even remember what meeting we were talking about.
November 2nd.
I've been gone for so long. I've been, November 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay, the minutes for November 2nd. Do I have any comments? Do I have someone to move?
Motion by Tim.
Motion by Tim, seconded by
Adrian.
Adrian. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain since I wasn't here. Legal notices have been published. Order of business. First item, site plan. PB 1101-22, final signed site plan approval. Farmington Family and Implant Dentistry. Come on up to the mic and tell us summary of what's going on. This is the final, so we got all the preliminaries out of the way. We're just doing
Yes.
final.
Yes. Well, good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Thank you for entertaining all this. So I did bring a copy of the landscaping plan
Okay,
with the signature line, the final,
okay,
the file number attached to it. There's 2 pages. I have 2 copies of that. So
okay.
you guys want it now?
Hand that to me and I'll hand it over here. We'll pass it around here a little bit and see what we got.
Electronically as well, so you guys can have it.
We'll start one either way, let you guys look at it. Okay. That's it?
That's
Okay.
it. That's what I got.
Turn over to staff. Ron,
I drafted a resolution for final with conditions.
with conditions, yep. That's it. Okay, Dan,
When he was here for preliminary, the big concern was the landscaping.
right?
Still is a concern with some of the plantings. The conditions say that the applicant needs to work with
Doug?
Doug. And besides for that, we will be in good shape.
So what I did was I contacted some of the nurseries in the area.
Uh-huh.
I suggested, and thank you for that suggestion. I was able to get a list of the shrubs and plants that can go around it.
Right,
I hand drew it. No
Right.
one would give me a proper landscape,
Yeah.
I just hand drew it.
Okay.
I really hope that's, acceptable.
all right,
And then, yeah, so there's one, I also looked up the approved plants from
Okay.
the MTOD, MSOD website,
yep,
right? So there's 2 different species you'll find there. One, which is the, I don't know how to pronounce it. Deutzia, something or another. That's one that's part of the list. The other one, which is the catmint, right? When I got the list from Bristol, the nursery, right? I kind of just Googled some of them. I found this one looks very nice,
yeah,
purplish, nice. Anyway, so it's not on the list. However, on the list on number 5, on the list, it says herbaceous perennials, including daylilies, hostas,
Yeah.
lemon fern. So that catmint plant is technically a herbaceous perennial.
Okay,
So I think that falls under the umbrella of what's acceptable.
okay. We'll talk about it when we get to us. Okay. Anything else? Highway,
I have none. I'm good.
engineering,
I'm good.
fire. You figure you have a care in the world about a sign. I understand. Okay, let's start with Doug. Your thoughts on what we have here?
Well, he is right. Catmint is something that would grows and looks
Uh-huh.
pretty nice. The only concern I have on the catmint, just because I've seen it used before, is the maintenance of it. I mean, it does need
Right.
to be pruned back like around, say, June,
Okay,
because it'll flower.
Okay.
You get these nice purple flowers and then they die.
oh,
And if you don't cut those back, it just looks like it's overgrown.
I mean, I'm not tied to catnip.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very, very hardy plant. I mean, it is something that would be good, but you will need to go out and prune it back, otherwise it becomes overgrown.
Is this unique to catmint, or is this pretty much anything I put?
No, catmint for some reason, I mean, it's just the nature of it. I mean, the nice thing is once you do prune it back, it'll regrow and, reflower.
Yeah. Well, I think there's is it 4 or 6? I don't have the plan in front of me.
Yeah, I mean,
So I mean, it shouldn't be that 4. So
yeah.
if I go and, or do it myself.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you could literally do it. I mean, it's just cutting off the dead stuff. I mean, and then the stuff will grow back.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, it does look kind of unsightly because you have a bunch of brown stuff that looks kind of.
Might be better off finding something else then.
You may want, I mean, daylilies is another good
Okay.
one, that those are very hardy and really don't require any maintenance.
They look nice too, or?
Depending on the variety, sometimes they'll get taller than the 1 foot, I think you had
No,
listed that you were
don't
aiming
want
for. I mean, it might be 18 inches. I mean, they
Okay.
do have other varieties.
Yeah, you can get the smaller ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stelladora.
And if they get bigger, I could prune them then.
Yeah, I mean, those are very hardy and,
Sure.
I've seen those driven over with tractor trailers and they regrow. So I mean,
Sign me up. All
they're-
right.
yeah, they're pretty hardy
Sounds
and.
like a win there.
Yeah, again, it might be a little bit taller than what you were envisioning of 1 foot, but I mean, not by much.
That's fine.
So,
Stelladora, like I said, are pretty. pretty
Exactly,
low. I
yeah.
mean, some of them
Yeah.
are fairly low. Some of
Okay.
the other ones get a little taller.
yeah, you
Yeah.
just have to work with, see what Bristol's has for, or whoever you go with. It
Sure.
might have something, more of a smaller variety, so.
So one of the questions I had was, let's say, when the time comes to put the actual plants, let's say one of those 2 species is not available. Can I just go buy anything here? Do I have to come back and get approval again and all that, or?
Well, you'll have a basic plan that Doug agrees to, and then, if there's not something that's not available, then you pick something else from the list and you go. for it. I mean, it's not that
Yeah,
big a deal.
and most of daylily should be, fairly
Something will be
available, yeah.
available, yeah,
I mean, maybe you have to use a red one, like the Stella
Yeah.
was mentioned was a yellow one.
right.
Maybe you go with a red one, but I mean,
Okay.
that's an option. Coneflower would be another one that might be a possibility. Some of those are, those are around that same, height of 18 inches. And there's a lot of variety in those as well.
Okay.
I'm not as familiar with that other, the
Lucia?
other one, the Ducia, I think
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, I mean, I Googled those look nice, but I'm not as familiar with those. It's
I'm
probably a similar.
I have zero knowledge of that.
Yeah,
I mean, they look,
This is all for me, just
yeah,
all good, and,
yeah,
Up the list, I just started typing up things just to see how they look.
yeah,
yeah, no, and that one looked like it might be okay. Again, I'm not that familiar. I think it would qualify as based on our MTOD guidelines as of a perennial. So, yeah, either of those, I mean, I think on the ultimate, just if you can show what the dimensions are that the overall dimensions here, so whatever size that sign is, just what size the outside dimension on that it is.
Be in the first, the original,
Oh, and the original,
the sign, the plan for the sign.
uh-huh,
okay.
See, there's a few signs going. There's a sign. Yeah, that's it. At the property right now, there's a sign for the sign. And there's a.
it's got the sign, that'll tell you what the landscaping side, oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is. One, I didn't see that note there.
Yeah,
Oh, no, it's one taller. Yeah, so I was looking for the distance away from the sign, so like is it
Oh.
1 foot 2 feet away from the sign.
Of the plants themselves from the sign.
From the
Yeah.
sign, yeah, and what the perimeter is on that.
What would be good in your opinion? What?
I think it depends on which variety of plant you go with. So like if you go with one of the daylilies, say that gets to 18 inches tall, 18 inches, they'll give you what the spread is.
Yeah.
When it's ultimately grown, that I would go by what that is, so if they say it's gonna be 2 foot wide, just space that according to that.
Can I add that after the fact?
The way we wrote this resolution is that there's any changes to this, run it by Doug, run it by staff will get it to Doug. When he agrees to it, then I sign it. So once we do tonight and we approve it, we just need any final changes that need to be done. Doug's gonna take a look at them
Yeah.
with staff and then I'll sign it. So
Okay.
you don't have to come back.
How about the sign?
Well, we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Anything else, Doug?
No, and I didn't
Okay.
have anything on the sign.
Anything
so,
on the sign?
no, I'm good
Tim,
on the
anything
sign.
on the sign itself? No.
Actually, I meant the sign in front of the property right now.
That's, he's
It's a
talking
sign.
about the project under review.
That
Yes.
goes away as soon as,
As soon as this board approves it,
right, correct.
Right.
the project's no longer under review and that sign can be removed.
Yeah, okay. That's really all I want.
Yeah.
Because that's causing a lot of problems, to be honest with
We'll take
you.
it.
But, okay.
Anything on the sign itself? He doesn't like having the sign out front.
It's a sign for a sign. Which is a sign of something, but yeah.
I don't have, I mean, I'm okay with the plantings and the sign, and if there's a change, Doug can just tell him if it's good or bad. I don't have anything with this one.
Aaron?
I'm good.
Good, okay. So we have a resolution with condition. Condition is pretty simple. If we make any changes to this, the planning, put the dimensions on it, around the flower bed there, and then get it to the staff. They'll get it to Doug. He says, okay, I sign it. It's as simple as that.
So the dimensions depends on the species, right?
Yeah, because I don't know how, depending what you wind up going with, it may need, say, 2 feet away from the sign, might
Yeah.
need 3 feet.
I would say.
Why don't we just put 3 feet now? and just
You
call
can
it a
do,
day?
whatever you're.
Can I pencil it in right now so we could?
Doug, I'm sorry, you're just saying for him to know that when he plants them, there's a certain distance that you don't want to plant it.
Dimensions.
Or are you saying you want the
Yeah, we
plants?
wanna know what
to show the
dimensions of of the planting.
The planting bed around the sign, basically. So the.
mulch
overall-
area?
So I'll tell you what, if I could take those ones that I just gave you. I'll hand right away.
What do you, well, just,
But he
what do
doesn't
you want on them? 3 foot? 3 feet all the way around?
Yes,
Okay,
easy.
Okay.
we'll make that part of the resolution, John.
Yeah, and then once you get into, the variety, like if it's not available,
I'll
we can
contact
get with-
you.
Yeah, just get with staff and we can
Okay.
Absolutely.
work on any substitutions or
Right.
changes on that, but I think the 3 foot border around it would be more than adequate to accommodate any of the stuff you're talking about there.
So the resolution with conditions, with the addition of a 3 foot all the way around planting bed,
Mhm.
are you okay with that?
100%.
Okay, anybody else have any comments? Go ahead, Ron.
Public safety sign.
There already,
That's part of the resolution, right?
but it's
Yeah.
there, it's on the property. You mean the numbers and
Yeah.
all- it's there. It's on the property right now. It's been on there, I didn't put it.
Okay. Staff, check it out. If it's there, fine. If it's not, I'll tell you. Okay, anybody else have any comments? Do I have a motion to approve the resolution with that change?
So moved.
So moved by Adrian, seconded by
Aaron.
Aaron. Any other comment? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Jim DeLucia.
Aye.
Doug Beats.
Aye.
Aaron Sweeney.
Aye.
Lee Bellis.
I,
Aye. Taken care of, done, signed, sealed, delivered.
Fantastic.
We'll,
So he can put the sign up.
put the sign up, get the plantings in by 30th of May.
You clear on that?
Very good.
Sign
Good
can
on
come
that,
down,
yeah,
The other sign can come down,
okay,
and then you just get the plantings in there, the bed done by the 30th of May.
very well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, yeah.
One last comment, the sign that's on the property now
Yeah.
broke, 3 days ago.
Yeah. bring
It's
it in
kind of-
your hand.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll pick it up.
Oh,
Okay,
We'll be out either tomorrow or Friday to pick it up.
sounds good. All right. Thank you very much,
hey,
gentlemen.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. PB 0601-22, preliminary site plan approval. David and Angela Caps. Come on up to the podium and tell us what we're doing and where we're at.
This is for site plan?
Uh-huh. Preliminary site plan.
Yes.
What would you like us to know? Anything specific or just turn it over to staff?
I wanted to discuss one item on the list of planning board conditions.
Okay,
It was number 4. The applicant's architect is to work with the town engineer, MRB Group, to show on the final site plan drawing how the surface water will flow away from the house.
okay,
The problem with some engineering firms is that they get paid more to overcomplicate things. And the previous company that I worked with the subdivision plan delayed the project significantly.
okay,
The building site is well draining soils. It's a gentle slope that goes towards the back. And it's excellent drainage the way it is now. The existing plan has the contours on lines on it,
okay.
showing the drainage away from the house. And we have already worked with Mr. Gordner on that at the building department. And I'm hoping that clarifications could easily be handled by him or the building department.
We'll talk about it, but that's a normal thing that staff turns things over to engineering, but we'll get with that now. So, Ron,
Yeah, two resolutions, one preliminary site plan with seeker and the other one conditions of approval.
so we have a seeker and a preliminary, okay?
It's a type 2 action under seeker.
Yep. Okay, anything else? Dan,
Yep, as the applicant has spoken about, he is working with Code Officer Gardner in regards to this project. There's been a lot of back and forth about what was required for the code. And to answer his question about number 4, it is our standard procedure that especially with drainage, if we're concerned with that our town engineer would review that.
Yep.
So that has been referred to him, and I will let him talk about that here in a second.
okay,
But it is standard procedure. Anytime we do a site plan, normally family, it's a real quick review by our engineer, but it's not that detailed. We are still concerned with drainage. That came up from a couple of the staff members, so we've asked MRB to look into it further.
perfect. Highway,
Yeah, David, the driveway out there, that material you got out there isn't acceptable out by the road.
Yeah, I realize that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was put there temporarily, and it's there to get things to compress. Number 2 crusher is going to be put there, and then the asphalt will be put there also.
Okay, but that doesn't even look like it's gonna be good for a subgrade on there.
Well, there was some topsoil on the top of that, and I put tried to put most of the topsoil on the sides. But if you dig down a little bit, there's some pretty hard pan type of soil there. And that will be compacted and meet the spec.
Okay, well, we'll be out to look at it. So yeah, just follow the site design.
Right.
It needs to be saw cut out there when the pavement's put on.
Mhm.
and know that if the doesn't meet their standards, then you'll have to redo it. Just be careful, make sure it meets the standards, or you'll have to redo it. Okay? Engineering, anything else?
No, I'm good.
Engineering,
So yeah, this application was referred to us today, so I haven't really had a chance to look into it,
Okay.
but from what I saw, I started comparing it to the town's checklist requirements for preliminary site plan. And the town's checklist requires 2-foot contours. It shows 10-foot contours. Now, mind you, I don't know, I mean, I think the area that you're in is well enough away where I don't know that drainage is such a major issue. However, the town does require the town to verify location of roof footers
right?
to make sure it's going away from the foundation. It does require us to verify that topography is going to bring it into a manner that doesn't impact neighboring properties or other lots or other buildings on your site. Whether the plans themselves are updated to show that or what, that's basically what I would comment on.
So the town standard is 2-foot contours?
That's,
We're gonna
that's on your check.
put contours on the final site plan?
Well, as the, yeah, to show, that's what MRB is gonna request for their review, and
Okay.
that's part of that condition that has to be shown on the final site plan.
Okay, so you know that.
I saw somewhere it was 10-foot contours. It was USGS.
I trust staff, they do it every day, so 2-foot contours is what we need.
If it is 10 foot, I'll correct that and make that cut, but I thought the checklist said 2 foot, so.
Normally around the house, we see, I mean, you have a very large lot. So
It's
obviously,
huge and everything drains towards the back.
But
Then the
maybe
soil drains too.
you may-
There's nothing anywhere near there.
Maybe you could put on the plans where your footer drains are and show the direction that the water's going to go.
Okay.
Okay, and then maybe you could put some spot elevations around, instead of doing contours all over the place, put some spot elevations in between the 2 10-foot ones, just to identify that, you know,
Sure.
your house elevation's higher. than
Right,
Where the
yeah.
footer elevation. is.
Right, yes,
That probably would work.
yeah. Within 10 feet of the house, it's gonna be 1/4 inch per foot draining away from the house, and then everything's downhill.
And maybe add some notes to it too, so that you don't have to go out, and do all this other work, just add some notes that says this. That would allow us to say, okay, you meet the town criteria that the water is going to flow away from that, because that's what this is about. It isn't whether or not your plans. We just have to verify and put our names on it saying that it's compliant with the town's criteria.
Right.
So if you add these notes that says this is what's going to happen and you show the spots and you can give me as much information you can, I
Okay,
think that would be sufficient.
okay, I'll do that.
All right. Fire. None, okay. So just so you know, MRB is the town engineer, staff refers things to town engineer, it happens every day. And that's what they get paid. So I can't turn around and insert a different engineer. It is who it is, the town has an engineer, and that's just the way it is.
So just to be clear, dependent upon the way tonight, I'm not looking at anything until Mr. Caps resubmit something with that information on, because there's nothing really for me
Right.
to I provide. So I'm not gonna spend any time between now and then. I haven't spent any time on it since, so at this point, it's just a matter of when the revised documentation comes in, and then if the town feels it needs to come to us, we'll look at it and comment.
But we need it revised for the preliminary so that the engineer can review, correct?
well, that's what it sounds like that MRB is requesting.
Right.
So,
Okay.
we might have to modify that number 4, then instead of to show it on the final site plan, it needs to be shown on the preliminary.
You want it on the final or you want it on preliminary?
It will probably be beneficial so that we can move forward, I would think.
I'll leave that up to, my opinion is if it was on final, I think I'm good with that. I don't think there's much there that I'm,
Okay, resolution says final, I can.
as long as you guys and staff, and Dan, you guys are okay, I can live with it being on final.
So make sure that that's on final and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Looking at your drawing again, I'm assuming that you have an expansion right by your leach field at the septic system. Is that just an expansion of the leach field itself?
I believe so.
Okay. All right, I just needed to clarify that. That's all. I'm all set.
Adrian?
The only thing I had was what, this one picture shows lofts in the building or something. Is that inside the building? There's lofts?
In the barn?
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be for storage.
in the back barn part?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if it was over the living area or in the barn, so I was just trying to figure out what that was all about. And then are those on the front of the greenhouse there, you have like, are those just big windows on each end? Or are they doors?
Those would be doors on the ends.
Okay, those are pictures of like doors,
Mhm.
like a double door or something, or,
Probably a large single door.
okay.
Doug?
No, I didn't have.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay, anybody have anything else? Okay, Ron?
Just a question for you, David, the septic system, when was that?
It was like 2 years ago. Pretty recent.
And at the time that it was put in, was it designed for your hydroponic or aquaponic greenhouse operations?
It was designed, no, there's no aquaponics or anything going in there. It was designed for a bathroom and future expansion to a house.
The form said aquaponic. I didn't think.
Yeah.
So it's designed to handle everything in the building.
Yes.
All right,
There's not gonna be anything from a greenhouse or aquaponics going into the septic. You know, the water from the greenhouse can come from the roof and, you know, the rainwater actually works better.
okay. All right, and it doesn't, you don't have to release any of it, or do you?
That's used by the plants.
Yes, you don't, you don't let it, okay.
Right.
All right, so we have two resolutions. First, we have a seeker, it's North Standard Type 2. Do I have someone to move the seeker? So moved by Doug, seconded by Tim. Tim, any other comments? Quick, take a roll call vote, please.
Jim DeLucia,
Aye.
Doug Deep,
Aye.
Aaron Sweeney,
Aye.
Adrian Dallas.
Aye.
And Henry.
Aye. Okay, we have a preliminary site plan resolution with conditions. Were we gonna change anything in that? I think we're good as the way it is. You're okay with the resolution the way it is?
Yes.
Okay, so any other comments on the resolution? I have someone to move it.
So moved.
Moved by Doug, seconded by
Aaron.
Aaron. Any other comment? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Jim DeLucia,
Aye.
Doug Deep,
Aye.
Aaron Sweeney,
Aye.
Adrian Dallas.
Aye.
And Henry Drew.
Aye. Okay, make sure you work with staff to get whatever we need on that final site plan drawing so that we can turn around and get it approved. Otherwise, when you come in for it, we'll have to hold it over until we get the information. So, okay, work with staff, that'll work good.
Okay. very
Have a
good.
good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, that one's taken care of. Next one up, review of the 2023 submittal date. Dan.
Yeah, my staff put together projected dates for your 2023 calendar. We need you guys to review it, and if you would approve the dates, and then we can make them official. I have shared this with the town board. They didn't see any issues with it. PRC dates are on the Thursdays for the month. The only thing that might change on this sheet I gave you is the county dates haven't been all set in stone yet, but
Right.
those are the projected ones. They're just not approved yet.
July 5th should work, so it shouldn't be a big deal, but that might be one that, depending on how many people are off for the 4th, so. Other than that, I don't see any issues with it. Has anybody got any problems with it?
There's just a
Um,
couple meetings I'll miss, but
Yeah, everybody's gonna miss some.
otherwise, nope.
Okay,
Did
I
I
have a-
just, yeah, if you guys would do a motion.
yeah, do I have a motion to approve these dates as presented? So moved by Doug, seconded by Tim. Tim, any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you're good to go. We saw the report to town operations on the comprehensive plan. Anybody have any changes to that document?
Nope.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve that and send that to town operations.
Aaron.
Aaron, seconded by
Adrian.
Adrian. Any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Got it. Okay, let's talk about town board. Let's talk about chicken. Dan, you're the chicken man.
So the town board has had a presentation, it's been what, a month or so now ago. It was sent to you guys for a review. The town board's looking for recommendations on the current code that's in the book that says that you need to have 5 acres of land to have chickens. The person that came in and made the presentation lives in Auburn Meadows and would like us to look at other neighboring districts, and he brought some examples in. Ron has done a pretty comprehensive look at all those and comparison. And I think I'll let Ron speak on this
Yep.
a little bit, so.
Ron, talk about chicken. Chicken man number 2.
Different municipalities have addressed this issue in different ways. One is separate section of the code. Usually it falls under animals. We have a section of the code under animals, but it's just restricted to dog licensing and kennels. So that's one option. The other option is to throw it in as a special use permit. Difficulty with that is, a special use permit usually runs with the property. And if you grant it, it runs with the property, so someone that living there today may have chickens, the next group coming in may not want chickens, but they're entitled to them. If you have a special use permit that you put on a periodic cycle, not let it run with the property, then that requires you to have public hearing, whatever period of time that is. You think of a public hearing notice going out in a subdivision like Auburn Meadows or Hathaway's Corners, where within 500 feet, you got to send notice to everybody. Post the property. The code officer has to go out and inspect it, make sure that everything's going on, and we haven't even gotten into a lot of the other side issues as to how these animals attract predators, which, I'm going to leave that up to the experts, but I do know from one veterinary source that that's a concern, and it's also a concern on how they maintain the animal waste,
I'm sure.
if you will. So anyways, the town board's looking for some thoughts from you. I think you have received the zoning board of appeals comments.
Yep.
So, I don't see this as a pressing issue. But then again, I hear that price of a dozen eggs went up significantly this week.
And just so the board knows, I didn't ask Ron to draft anything up because I wanted to get feedback first to get some idea where we stood on, so.
Yeah, the one example that is cited in the presentation is with the town of Farmington.
Right.
And there's a number of procedural issues there that Farmington may think is fine. It's not fine. I wouldn't recommend it for this town because it violates various sections of town law.
Right.
And court decisions are held. You've got to be pretty clear as to why you're putting time restrictions on a special use permit.
Okay. All right, anything else? Anything else? Anything on highway, anything from engineering? You don't care, I understand.
Chicken
Chicken barbecue, yeah. So, let's start with Adrian. I'm just looking for feedback on how we want to draft something for the town board as it relates to our position on chickens in the more developed residential area of town.
Yeah, they would be. Well, I mean,
You're up in some there.
I mean, I saw the presentation of the town board that night, and he says this, the size of a swing set supposedly. Wow. I get what he's saying, but noise, attracting wildlife to them, like coyotes, whatever, it eats them or wants them or whatever, I don't know, there's probably other stuff. I just think you're opening a big problem for a neighborhood that doesn't need it.
Okay.
So I think right now don't we have 5 acres or more? You have to have-
Acres or more.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with that. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Karen?
We already have a problem with small game wildlife in that neighborhood, coming from what was left. Because of that, you put chickens in there, it's just gonna add to the wildlife. The issues we already have, I'm against it.
Okay. You live in the country, but
Yeah.
you can have your chicken.
You're right, right. My neighbors did for a little bit and they don't anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the stuff that was presented was, you know, maybe pause for a minute, but
Yeah.
I still, you know, on some of the size of those lots, I still have some big concerns. I mean, it's not, I get square footage is the same as the playground.
Right.
It's not a playground. It's, you know, playground is used periodically. That chicken coop is there consistently. And again, the waste, I still don't quite understand what you do with the waste that's generated and, you know, how many chickens.
You want to pick it up their dog crap, what are they gonna take care of the chickens? I mean, come on.
Well, but I guess my concern is for the neighbors.
Yeah.
that live next door to it. And
Yeah.
yeah, you know, some person might be fine and do a great job with it, but the other person might not. And again, without having some type of control, either a special use permit or something like that, I mean, it's just open it wide open. To me, it's a bit of concern. So,
Well, we know the building department needs more shit to do, so.
And we really like chickens.
no, I mean, I understand kind of where they're coming from
Yeah.
and, you know, and size of them and all, but there's other, you know. I don't know, if there's some other ways that you know, maybe you can deal with the waste or the predators is another concern, I guess, because, but I do have other friends at work that have had chickens, that they also live in the country, but most of them have had some type of critter get into that cage. Or enclosure.
Raccoon, coyotes.
Mink, I think was one of them,
Mink?
maybe.
Oh, I didn't think about that one,
Yeah, and
That's
you know, things
surprising.
you don't even know that's out there that
Yeah.
get in and just decimate those, and there's nothing left then other than a bunch of feathers and blood, so. You know, in a residential neighborhood, you know, subdivision like that, I just don't, I think it's still, there's an acre, I mean, maybe if we scale down to 5 to 1, maybe, but on a quarter acre or less, I just don't see where that really fits. I mean, that's,
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim?
For all the same reasons that I just heard, I mean, I agree with the ZBA's recommendation to not amend the town code at this time. Leave it at 5 acres. That would be my.
Well, and I have to tell you, mine's the same way. I mean, actually, just the other day, fox runs across my front yard in the middle of the day. Coyotes are around and certainly raccoons are around and they'll all get in there. The handling of waste is always an issue. It's that for dogs and the rest of that, and it's gonna be just as bad or worse for chickens, so. I would support the rest of the board who basically says, hey, we're not really for it. I think the ZBA comments were good. We'll tend to go over the same basic. You can write something up basically like the ZBA did.
You just
Okay.
gotta think of the neighborhood. I mean, I live in
Yeah,
a
it's
neighborhood,
neighborhood,
and I don't
yeah.
know, I wouldn't want somebody having them, I'm not against them, but I just don't, I wouldn't wanna see my neighbor having them and then all of a sudden I have pest problems.
Right.
Rodents maybe become bigger problem because there's food sources and all of a sudden now there is, and maybe there is coyotes in the neighborhood, but other than something where it's just something happens and the neighborhood has problems safety wise too a little bit.
And if the town board wants to, and they wanna go from 5 acres down to 3 acres or 2 acres,
Yeah, I mean,
that would probably be acceptable too, but, we don't want to get into the semantics of whether it's
yeah,
5 or 3 or 2 or 1.
yeah,
It's certainly not much less than 1 for sure.
not if you're all, yeah.
I'll let them figure that out. So, okay. So that's where we're at. Ron, you got your
I got an idea.
marching orders, you know where we're going?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay, you're the best. Cool. Okay, that takes care of the chicken discussions, open discussion, Ron.
Yeah, first of all, the Delaware River Solar Project
Yes,
is ready to, they say by the end of the month, turn on the juice. And, if you haven't driven by up there lately, you should.
I have.
You'll find a different, setting than what was there for all this period of time.
Yeah.
They, the interesting thing is that, we have not had any issues or any concerns or any comments from anybody, so they must be doing things right. I know Dan has been up there on several occasions and walked, seen things on the site, so. some good
Haven't had
things.
any accidents at the intersection that we know of?
Not that we know of, and, I can drive by there most days without sunglasses on because there isn't a lot of glare.
I do know if you guys do drive out there, You'll notice that some trees are in rough shape. They are scheduled for spring replacement. Just want to throw that out there. They already know about them. I've walked them with them. They still had 10 extra they were going to replace this fall. And then they're not coming back in the spring to replace the rest, just because their nursery, they can't get them right now, and this is a greatest time to plant, so. That was the agreement that we worked out, and I will walk it again in the spring.
Cool. All right, Ron?
Yeah, the things we've been working on, Dan, I and Augie and John Weidenborner and I don't know who I'm missing. Fire chief over here, putting together the petition and notification to the state office of, I call it fire prevention control, I guess it's state building codes or whatever goes by these days, to amend the uniform code to not have a size restriction for sprinklers for commercial and industrial buildings. Makes it more uniform to enforce if you don't have to stop and think, is this 10,000 or 5,000 or whatever the square footage is.
Right.
On board will be passing a resolution Tuesday night to direct the supervisor to sign the petition and all the supplementary documents. There's 10 appendices or attachments. A lot of detail had to go into it.
Good.
The sidewalk project out there today and saw the survey crews over on Mertensia Road doing survey work. So they're moving forward with that. The solar or the county has the Powers property and center zoning project for review. I keep asking questions that I don't know, they're getting a lot into the weeds at this point in time on things that we'll see where they go with all this. The other thing is, we were told last Thursday that there has been a decision made for that property between the G&A Plaza and Tom's. It's going to be a cow pasture. And that was,
They're gonna rezone it to ag.
they made it very clear to us that that's what Lefroy Builders is going to put on the property, and it's going to be used for grazing cattle.
In a commercial area?
We don't allow chickens, so we're gonna change the code to allow.
You're right. That's what he said.
What he said. Supervisor informed them that it wasn't zoned for that, but
I was gonna say it's not zoned for that.
We can rezone. Incentive zoning for cow.
One of the reasons we didn't have them clear all the trees off the property.
They have installed the new access drive over there
Yes,
at the plaza. Some people will say it's causing them to slow down to make that turn. But so what?
yeah, I'm not sure I like it, but it certainly makes you slow down.
It does. And it also has that choke point where you enter the plaza
Yes,
that makes you slow down.
yes,
So I think it's successful from that standpoint.
yes, I think so.
And then,
Traffic calming.
yes, traffic calming is correct. Other than that,
All right,
that's it for me as far as I can
we'll
recall.
turn it over to Dan. You can think of something else while we're going through it.
no,
Yeah.
Always do.
Rob covered a lot of things there. We have been spending a lot of time on the petition, to do with sprinklers. Town board did pass on, November 22nd, the local law to adopt. We have 30 days after that to petition the state for their approval. I do want to thank Rod. He has spent a tremendous amount of time on that, so. I think we're in a really good spot because of it. For your next meeting, December 21st, we have the Bucking preliminary site plan. This is a site that had a house on it that fire department was out a while ago, a couple of years now, I think. That burned down. he's looking to rebuild, at this point, and, it offers some, interesting challenges, so it should be a good review. And then the other thing that we're looking to do is start your rules of procedure for 2023. We'll make sure that you guys have sent a copy of your current rules of procedure to review. Be good time to review it, see if there's any changes so that we can hopefully adopt.
We've already done it.
Yeah,
We have those already.
yeah.
You don't need a copy then?
No, we already have.
Okay.
John sent them.
Sent them out a couple weeks ago.
See, John's just so far ahead of
I know.
all of us, so. All right, that's all I got for tonight.
Okay, Jim Highway.
Not much going on at the highway. It hasn't been snowing, so guys are grumbling a little bit. Not getting any overtime, but
Yeah.
I'm getting sleep, so that's good.
It'll come, tell them it'll
Yeah.
come.
Time is coming. Land.
No, pretty busy, just, working with the town on their GIS and then doing some MS4 meetings with them. Trying to get ready for, 2023 and updating, the town swamp plan. But overall, no, there isn't really anything else to report.
Okay, fire.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want a report that you're working on the site design and development criteria too?
I'm working on the site design criteria too. But I'm waiting at this point to receive more information from the town, so they're really, at this point, I'm on a holding pattern.
Okay.
So the biggest updates are coming from water and sewer right now for that, so we're really focused on that area.
Okay.
Building has a little bit, and I don't think we have any changes for highway this year.
Not
So,
yet. Not yet. They'll be coming. That's mostly water and sewer.
All right, fire.
Always there.
Always there. you
I'm not saying anything else.
did. Good idea. Yeah,
Somebody's always.
I'll just put my mouth shut.
there you go. Don, you got anything? Anything from ZBA? Okay.
Anybody online?
Is there anybody online? I don't think there's anybody online.
just us tonight.
Just chickens.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gone for a little while and I'm back in the saddle doing whatever needs to be done. So we'll kind of go from there. Has the board got anything?
Yep.
Go ahead.
What's going on with the electric car corner or whatever the,
I'm glad you asked. There was a delay in their preliminary approval. They submitted plans. They didn't meet all the requirements, so we were waiting for updated plans. They were delivered today. He asked me if everything was okay, if he could be on the 21st. I told him that probably wouldn't happen, because he still hasn't submitted finals. So, but I would anticipate that we would see him in January for final approval.
and then the 90 days for Farmbrook got pulled is, I thought that expires next week though.
That got pulled because the plans got signed,
Okay.
the preliminary plans, and they are back in front of you at the first meeting of January.
Okay.
The finals are in our office. I know MRB is already working on that.
Yeah, I mean, these are just subdivision plat. And so there's no grading, no site, no construction. They're just subdivision. plans.
Yeah,
So
just lines right now.
just lines.
And then they will go.
Right.
But they know that they can put preliminary at the same time if they want.
They do.
I mean, because they'll complain that we're holding them up again and,
We've done that before. We've ran
yeah,
final sum with preliminary site,
right.
but that's not what they're doing at the moment.
Their
And-
choice.
Country Max corner, is that all stabilized and everything or? I mean, it looks better sometimes, but it,
They are stabilized. They are still working there slowly.
very slowly,
But they're still moving along.
they are doing work.
The storage, that's coming right along, it looks like,
Yep,
the big building,
yeah, the climate control is what they're doing first,
right?
so. But the problem with that, when we got the update was he had to get the slab in before they could even order the building. So the slab has to be there, he has to take a picture of it, and then he sends it to the company, and then they'll start putting it together.
But he understands too.
What?
that
Yeah, that's what he told us Thursday.
He's got to understand too, that because he didn't phase this, that I know of, he's gotta get the whole thing done before he can get a CFO, right?
The building pads he could put in, he has to pave and everything. He doesn't have to technically build every storage building. He did the same thing in the back.
Correct. He had all the pads there, but then
All he's gotta have the pads and the landscape and all of.
And the extension of the road.
Yes.
All that has to be in before he can get his.
Before you get CFO for the, even the first building,
Correct.
so, I mean, it's not just he gets the building in and he can CFO.
I think there's something else going on there though, because I don't know why you would have to have a concrete slab before you can order the metal building to put up.
That's what he told us.
It is what it is.
I mean,
Hey, we don't make this stuff up.
I get it. I find,
Somebody's making it.
Yeah. Anybody got anything else?
it's
Adrian,
interesting,
anything else?
interesting.
Good?
Good.
Motion to adjourn by Doug, seconded by Aaron, all in favor? Aye. Aye.